And just gone by has been the 5th Ghana CEO Summit, where the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been addressing Ghana's private sector CEOs and the business community on various reforms and policies that government has rolled out to ensure a resilient and boisterous economy post-COVID-19. We heard much on the matters regarding digitalization and the streamlining of tech services across the various interconnectivity of business engagement. We shall be giving you feedback in terms of updates and analysis of the CEO Summit in a subsequent bulletins. But let's also bring you in some interesting developments making rounds in the world of business. Ghana's debt to GDP ratio at the end of December this year was higher than that which was put out by government, and that's according to the International Monetary Fund after it concluded its Article 4 consultation on the Ghanaian economy. We have a report on this.
The fund puts Ghana's debt in relation to the total value of the economy in percentage terms at 78. This is higher than government's own data put out in the budget of 76.1%. This was after the fund added the ESLA debt of 7.63 billion Ghana cedis. However, government sources insist it didn't add the ESLA debt because it doesn't believe that it should be classified as a direct exposure to government debts, a position that the IMF actually disagrees. The Washington-based lender in its assessment warned that if measures are not taken to deal with any sector debt, it could pose a major risk to the economy in terms of the rising debt stock, adding that improving collections should be seen as a priority for now. It again welcomed planned audits of the COVID-19 emergency spending by government as well as other budget arrears, arguing that it would help guide future spending plans. The fund, on the other hand, wanted some tough measures taken to improve the revenue situation. But despite all these concerns, the fund, however, noted that the economy is indeed on a rebound due to some policy measures taken by government. The IMF is even projecting that the economy will grow at 4.8%, slightly lower than what government is projecting for this year, whilst inflation will be within the range of 8% target as already put out by the Bank of Ghana. It noted that the Ghana Cares program also has the potential to transform the economy, supported by leveraging on the Africa Free Trade Area program.
And that's a Business Desk report. Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie is an economist and joins us via Zoom for his analysis on this development. Doctor, we're so grateful that you joined us briefly because we're already out of time. What do you make of this particular report from the IMF? The IMF is expressing worry about the country's debt to GDP 70%. What do you think is the best way forward in narrowing the deficit as we have breached a 70% dreaded threshold? Briefly, please.
I think we have to just slow down with the borrowing. Government must slow down with the borrowing. And if anything at all, we should do more domestic borrowing than foreign borrowing. And then with the domestic borrowing, we know we can do the cedi-denominated kind of borrowing where we can allow foreigners to bring in dollars or other foreign currencies to demand our bonds, our local bonds here. And then the third option is to intensify the domestic resource mobilization, which I'm sure is right now it is the only viable way to go, because we cannot be borrowing at the rate that we are now.
All right.
So the best option for us to do domestic resource mobilization.
All right, Doctor, we're so grateful that you joined us for that. We shall expand this discussion in our subsequent bulletins. But let's now talk power, but even before we talk about power, let's now bring you in some details regarding the hike in transport fares. Even though the GPLTU has debunked claims that most of its members are breaking ranks to increase transport fares, we have news about some concerned commercial drivers increasing their fares by 20%. If you could pull up that particular press statement to this effect, the reasons why they have come up to increase road transport fares by 20%. It says that this is due to the increase in fuel prices, and of course this takes effect from today. They've also given out the reasons why they did so, because for them, if they do not increase these fares, their businesses is bound to collapse. We shall be having analysis on this one as well in our subsequent bulletins. But let's also move away from this story as we follow up at 5 p.m. on Business Live to bring you other updates regarding Ghana's trade community, the trading community, where the Ghana Union of Traders Association is alleging that the Association of Ghana Industries is lobbying government to take off the entire issue regarding the benchmark value of 50%. We have the President as well as the AGI Chief Executive Azum. Gentlemen, we're so grateful that you joined us. I want to start off with you briefly, Dr. Joseph Obeng. I mean, how much of a concern is this for you as the trading community? Briefly, please. Do we have Dr. Joseph Obeng? Kindly unmute your microphone so we could hear you better. I believe we have Mr. Setchum Akwabwa also there. If you could also pick up the side from the AGI, is there really a lobbying going on regarding the benchmark values? Yeah, Mr. Setchum Akwabwa, if you could kindly hear us. Yeah, you're loud and clear, please.
Okay, so I thought you wanted Mr. Obeng to speak first.
Yeah, so Mr. Obeng, how much of a concern is this for the trading community, the matter regarding the benchmark values?
Yeah, it is about the best thing that the government did for the business community, in that there was a whole lot of confusion at the port. And then duty was so high, astronomically high. It was so unbearable to the extent that we're agitating a lot. And then the government understood our plight and gave us the benchmark reduction of 50% so that it will alleviate our plight.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
The reason for this is that the government couldn't have reduced the import duties per se because of the CET, and that they opted, because we have gone for the duty reduction, but government thought that because of the CET they were challenged, so they gave us the benchmark reduction for 50%. And the reason why it's helping us is that previously there was a whole lot of confusion at the port, where customs will say that we are undervaluing our values.
All right.
And then we will also say that they are overvaluing the invoices that we have presented.
Let me bring in Setchum Akwabwa. Let me bring in Setchum Akwabwa. Is there anything like a lobbying to have this scrapped totally?
Exactly. That's exactly.
I want to bring in Setchum Akwabwa on that.
AGI is doing. They passed the petition to the International Trade Commission, and then followed it up to the Economic Management Team.
Mr. Setchum Akwabwa, if you could respond to this particular claim that Gutai is raising.
And then they want the whole thing to be reversed to their advantage and to the disadvantage of the business, the importing community.
Thank you very much, Doc. But Setchum Akwabwa, if you could respond to this for us briefly, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. You're asking if there's anything like lobbying going on. I think that right from the onset, since the benchmark value reduction was introduced, AGI's position has been very clear, and we have never changed our position. Our position has always been that we are not against the introduction of the reduction in the benchmark values. But what we are against is the total application of the policy to cover every product. I think that is not good for industry. That's inimical to industrial development. Government has its own agenda of developing local industries. And in that context, if you are introducing a reduction in benchmark values, there are products that we don't have the local capacity to produce because of technology, finance, and so many other things. For those products, we are not producing them locally. So if you reduce the benchmark values, it helps to reduce the cost of the product for the consumers.
All right, so your argument is basically that of the application and not the benchmark values. We shall advance the discussion in the future. Pardon us, we do know that we had to pick in the 5th Ghana CEO Summit, of which we shall be giving you updates in our subsequent bulletin. But that has been this brief edition of The Marketplace. My name is Charles Aite. Enjoy the rest of our programs.